Hello and welcome back to Defense Grid. This is another rules video and how to play. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to ask below in the comments or over on BoardGameGeek, Discord, Reddit. You can ping me just about anywhere. And I'm more than happy to work with you and help you get through any issues that you might have. Hopefully there aren't any. Hopefully this is good enough for you, but in case it's not, we like to help out. So, this is going to be covering how to set up the Alien Waves for a mission. We've tried to make this as simple as possible, and our goal was you create it, you set up the mission, and then micromanagement and trying to fiddle with stuff is as limited as possible. For this purpose, you'll open up your mission booklet. On the left side, we already have a video for how to handle the setup of the maps. So for this one, you only need to manage the waves. We recommend that at that point, you flip it under. It makes it nice and flat on your table with the spiral binding so that you can just lay it, takes up a little bit of space, and you're all good. We start with wave 1 at the bottom, and we work up to wave 7 at the top. That's that it can sit on the outside of the table, and you see them disappearing as you're going, rather than having to look over and see what's coming next. In addition, we have the aliens on the bottom, so that at the start you can grab exactly how many aliens you need, and then put the aliens aside and just get to setting up. Finally, for the last 2 missions of the game, we weren't able to fit the alien thing on the bottom, but that's because it basically requires all the aliens. So it's not too much of a problem. You can just at that point grab the box and have fun. So for this mission, we're going to be setting up mission number 1. And I will be covering during this also the random spots, but I have a separate video for that in case you need to reference it in the future, just a really short, quick video for that. Okay, so let's start out. So for this one, I need 2 bulwarks, 8 swarmers, and 8 walkers. Now, me personally, I like to set up there's 2 of these trays in the box. I like to set them up. I have all of the aliens organized by type. So I will need to pull out the 2 bulwarks. Now, normally, you'll have just 2 bulwarks, empty pillars, but after you get them out, and you can load up the HP and stuff, which I'll cover in a moment, but if you are like me and like to pre-plan things a bit, you can preload them and store them inside of the box as well, with all the tokens that you need on them in order to manage them. So, let's start with just pulling out the 2 bulwarks. Then I will pull out the 8 swarmers I need as well. And as you can see, I've already got a couple of these loaded up. And finally, we will need all 8 of the walkers as well. And a few of these are loaded up as well. Now that I've got them all out, I can set this aside. And I will grab the main tray, which I usually use to hold the HP tokens, the dice, and the shield tokens. So now we need to move the aliens onto the wave tracker and load them up. So in the very first slot here, we have a swarmer. If you look at the Swarmer reference card, you'll notice they have the resources that you earn, movement, armor, cores, but most important for this, you have hit points, and you have hit points by player count, so 1, 2, 3, and 4 players. In this case, I'm setting up for a 4-player game, so we need 4 hit points for the 4 players. You might, by accident, have flipped over one of these cards. If you ever see the max hit points when healed, ignore that side. That's for specifically the healer unit that can heal up everything in the game. These tell you the maximum hit points that they can reach while playing. But for setup, all you need is this side with that. So let's start with the Swarmer here. And in this case, he has 4 hit points. So I just grab 4 of the ones, place them on whatever pillar or pillars you want. And then once you've got the 4 hit points on him, you just set him right onto his wave spot. Next, we've got a walker. And you see, they're right over here. Once again, so in this case, we flip the cards. The walker has 8 hit points. So there's 2 ways you can set up the walker. In that case, you can use a 5 hit point token, and then 3 1 hit point tokens. And how this works is when a walker would take a point of damage, for example, during the game, he's now down to 7 hit points. Or, if you really like low numbers, you could remove the 5 at that point, and you could slap on 4 extra ones. Now, in my case, I'm just going to load them up full, so I put them at 8, and now I put down the walker. Now we've got another swarmer, then we've got a bulwark. In the case of the bulwark, they're a little bit more unique. So you'll notice that at the bottom they have both hit points and starting shields. So in this case, they start with 6 hit points and 4 starting shield tokens. So what I will do, these pillars actually will hold up to 8 tokens. So because I generally prefer to deal with the smaller numbers, I will load up 6 1s on him. And then I will use the other pillar to load up 4 of the shield tokens. There we go. And now he's all set up, and we put him on the board, and I've got one already loaded up swarmer I'll put here. Now, once you get to wave 4, you'll notice that you have these other little symbols with the player symbols alongside. These are extra hit points, so the aliens actually get harder as you progress through the waves. So they get more and more hit points. So in this case, we've got a wave of 3 walkers coming in at the next wave, and they would actually have +2 hit points. So I've got a walker here preloaded with 8 hit points. I'd throw 2 more on him, putting him up to 10, and put him on. I have another walker here with 8. Similar, just slap 2 more hit points on him and put him on. And then I've got one more walker, and just because I'm feeling a little lazy, I'm going to throw 2 5ers on him. And he's out, down for 10. Now, as we head into wave 5, for 1, 2, and 3 players it stays the same, but now you get +3. So now we've got these swarmers that normally have 4 hit points on them, suddenly jumping up to 7. There we go. And now you've got a swarmer. If you notice, though, this is not impacting shield count at all. Shield counts do not change based on wave number that enemies come in. So now you'd keep laying out, and you'd eventually get all of... Oh, that's the wrong guy. You get all of your waves completely laid out and set up. There we go. But you'll notice you have these 2 random spots on the end. So how those work is as you're playing through the course of the game, you're going to kill a bunch of aliens. So let's say you kill all of these 5 guys right here, and you're getting into the final wave of the game, and these are all still on your map, and they're running around and grabbing cores and all that. So you've got the final wave, wave number 7, coming in for mission 1. Before you spawn the wave, you'll sit here and you'll look at which aliens you have killed. And for each type of alien that you've killed, you'll grab the hit point and status card that gives you all the extra information about them, and you'll pull those aside. Then you'll shuffle those up, but only for the aliens you killed. So I've got a Bulwark, Walker, and Swarmer here. So I shuffle these up, and then I grab a random one. In this case, I drew a Swarmer. So I would take a Swarmer, I'd load up its hit points with the +5 hit points like the wave requires, and I would put him onto the first random slot. But for the sake of argument, let's say I pulled the Bulwark. So I take the Bulwark, load him up also with the +5 hit points, so he'd actually have 11 total hit points. So I'll actually do that. That's very simple in this case. With +5, you just throw another 5 token on there. But now, there's no Bulwark left remaining from the defeated units. So I set the Bulwark card aside, and I only shuffle the Swarmer and Walker cards. I shuffle those up, pick one, got a Swarmer, load him up, and put him on the spot. Then you just take the remaining ones and you set them aside, either for possible future waves with question marks on them, some missions have that, or just to put away in the box later or set up your next mission. Well, I hope this all has helped. If you have any additional questions, as always, ask in the comments below. Board Game Geek, Reddit, wherever you can find me, happy to help out, and I hope you enjoy the game.